Everyone, welcome back. Excited to see you all again here for the second Educate series event. We'll get started here in just a few moments. And in the meantime, I will be throwing some just important links for the Encode ecosystem, as well as just the Harmony and Encode Club partnership in general here into chat. So feel free to take a look at those as they come in. First ones are just a link to our Discord page, as well as our Twitter page. So kind of just a great place to stay up to date on all things Encode Club, as well as things linked to the hackathon, as well as the Educate series. Next up is the kind of hackathon registration form. Just so you guys all aware, this is kind of a longer term partnership with the Harmony protocol. First being a Educate series with a follow-up hackathon. So feel free to take the look at the hackathon if you have any interest kind of building on Harmony or with Harmony. And here's some more information just on the series in general. And yep, we'll get started here in just another minute. If you would like to connect, just post general updates on things crypto, Encode Club, and kind of all our events, feel free to check me out on Twitter. We'll give you a follow back. And yeah, and if you have any questions in general as well, here is my email. And yeah, I'll be happy to answer any questions relating to the Educate series, Encode Club in general, or the hackathon. But we're coming up here on 5 after. So as a reminder, this event is being recorded and will be posted to our YouTube channel as well as our Medium page by tomorrow morning. And as usual, if you do have any questions, feel free to throw them here in chat, and we'll make sure to get everything answered here before the session ends. But great, we'll do an official introduction. So we'll start the video here. So welcome everyone to the second Encode Club times Harmony Educate series event. Today we are very happy to be joined by Samuel Harrison, who is the Harmony Protocol's head of ecosystem growth, to give kind of an introduction to the Harmony in general. So without further ado, Sam, if you want to take over and feel free to present however you would like.
Perfect. I didn't prepare any slides today, everyone, so my apologies for that. However, I have to give a lot of credit out to a couple of our core team members, Tim and Jeremy, who have done a phenomenal job revamping our support documents and our support portal. So you guys can check out support.harmony.one. A little bit later, I'll toss that link into the chat as well, so you can look at that. And that'll give you a really good overview about where to start when you are working on Harmony. So that little bit of bookkeeping out of the way, I wanted to welcome all of you guys to this really quick intro into Harmony. I do want to give a shout out to the prior introduction to blockchain video that Encode put out. They did a phenomenal job of looking at what is a blockchain, what is a layer one, and how various different layer ones are different. So I'm going to do the classic YouTube thing. The link right here, no, just kidding, I have no idea. That's where you guys can go and take a look at that video that Encode just did to learn more about the various different types of blockchain. So in that mix, I will repeat a few pieces of information just to make sure that we put the proper context around what Harmony is and what it is not. The first thing I'd say is Harmony is a layer one blockchain. That means that it is akin to something like Bitcoin or akin to something like Ethereum, where we have our very own set of validators or miners or people who verify the status of our decentralized ledger. Our consensus mechanism is different from Ethereum and many other blockchain, layer one blockchains. We are a proof of stake network. Importantly, we are an effective proof of stake network, which is slightly different than some of the other ones out there. And it is very different than the proof of work blockchains that you see from both Bitcoin historically and the current version here in late August of 2022 of Ethereum. I know that the Ethereum merge is approaching rapidly, and so I look forward to seeing what happens there with them moving to a proof of stake network. But we are efficient proof of stake, which means that we do things slightly differently. In general, proof of stakes are based on you have a stack of coins that you put up as a security deposit to make sure that you do everything correctly. What ends up happening is the people who have the most coins get rewarded the most. And so you have a little bit of a gravitational pull down to that side of the validator network of having the big validators become bigger and bigger. The way that it works at Harmony is we created a curve where 35% on both sides is modified. So if you're at the top end, your stake is multiplied by 0.65, so you have less of a stake. And if you're at the bottom percentage, your stake is multiplied by 1.35, so you actually have more of a stake. And what that ends up helping us do is actually introduce more and more validators into the blockchain. That makes it more secure. As of last count, we were roughly around 400 slots for validators and about 160, 170 independent blockchain validators. And you can take a look at this at staking.harmony.one, which is our staking dashboard. A little bit about why you should stake. Number one, of course, is it secures the network itself, make sure that the network is decentralized. But number two, you're able to get a little bit of yield for your token. Currently, the reward is roughly around 9%, 9 to 10%. That fluctuates slightly with the speed of the block production. But the takeaway is that the great way of making your coins, taking your coins and helping them improve the security of the network. Let's see. So that's a little bit about our staking. I'm going to pause there. See if anybody has any questions on that. I don't think so, because that's pretty straightforward stuff. And I'll dive into a little bit more about what makes Harmony a particular value for people who are looking to build. All right. So I don't see any questions on that, which is fine. Like I said, staking is pretty straightforward. So let's talk a little bit about why Harmony versus why anybody else. And again, this was talked about a little bit in the intro to blockchain discussion. So in general, when you have a transaction that you enter into the blockchain, you put your transaction into the ledger, and then the way that it works over on Ethereum is that it has to wait several blocks until that transaction is finalized, until you can't, quote unquote, reverse that transaction or know that that transaction has officially gone through. That ends up creating the delay, anywhere between 15 and 30 seconds to know whether or not your transaction was accomplished. We don't have that at Harmony. At Harmony, each block is final within 2 seconds. And what that means is if you are building something like a game or something that requires a lot of quick transactions and you have to have those transactions resolved and accepted by the general ledger, excuse me, then you are able to do that very, very rapidly with Harmony. Whereas on something like Ethereum, it's a little bit slower. So that's number one, is our transaction speed is impressive. Number two, and this is a great line from the metrics DAO that helps run our Explorer, explorer.harmony.one. The metrics DAO had an analysis that said, okay, what about gas? What about the transaction fees? And their simple statement was gas, irrelevant. So what that means is our transaction fees are actually so low that normally you don't need to think about them very much. And that again allows you for a project that has transaction heavy computations and contracts that they have to use in whatever it is their application is doing. You're going to like to have low transaction fees. A great example here is what was happening with the core quest contract from DeFi Kingdoms. The DeFi Kingdoms game had these heroes that were able to, as NFTs, able to upgrade. But to do that, they had to go through a very, very long list of if-then statements about, hey, do you have this skill? Are you having a verifiable random function that gives you this fish or that fish or whatever it has? And the idea here is that so many of those transactions had to be accomplished in such a short amount of time that out of the mouth of Frisky Fox himself, the guy who started DeFi Kingdoms, he couldn't build it anywhere else. It would have been too expensive for anybody to use DeFi Kingdoms on any other chain. And so that's why he built it first on Harmony. Now, of course, the other thing that was interesting about that is it also shows that our block size was very important to DeFi Kingdoms. So each block on Harmony has 80 million to 90 million gas in that block, as opposed to 30 million on some other chains, or 8 million as the Ethereum was originally created. Which means that if you have a project like DeFi Kingdoms, it would not have been able to even run its main core contract on Ethereum. So that's another thing that you need to think about when you're building your applications and when you're trying to decide what blockchain to deploy them on, is how many transactions or how big of a block size do you need in running that. So we have low transaction fees, we have 2-second finality. The other thing we have is we have massive transaction throughput. This is a case from an architecture perspective that we have to make sure that we understand the difference between the Web 2 architecture that's in place and the Web 3 architecture that's in place. The Web 3 architecture has to do with the transaction throughput for each block and about those transactions actually being added to the ledger. The Web 2 infrastructure is who can access the blockchain at any given time. The reason I bring this up is when there are times of very, very high transaction activity, you're going to need to have a very robust Web 2 infrastructure, also known as the RPCs, the remote procedure of program call, that will allow you to access that blockchain. And that can be a bottleneck. And that has been historically a bottleneck on Harmony. And we're actually doing a great job right now with our Elastic RPCs. They have been running, I think, over the weekend, they were running the entire 100% of the transactions were going through the Elastic RPC. I'm not sure, I have to go and take a look at our technical channel to see how that went. But the point is those RPCs are vital. And when it comes to transaction throughput, the reason why I bring this up is for your users, you want your users to have the best experience possible. Importantly, there was a study that was done back when Web 2 was trying to upgrade their loading speed of their websites. If a user had to wait longer than 3 seconds to see their website load, they would take off. Users don't have a whole lot of patience. And so being able to have that experience for your user about the fact that it goes very quickly is very, very valuable. We have experienced the largest game with the highest transactions in crypto ever, and that was DeFi Kingdoms. And that showed us the fact that while our Web 3 infrastructure was great and handled it without a problem, the Web 2 infrastructure needed to be upgraded, and that's how we got the RPCs. And so to think about why you would build on Harmony, 2-section transaction finality, really, really low gas fees, high transaction throughput, being able to process thousands of transactions per second, at the same time as having the Elastic RPC Web 2 infrastructure, gives you a situation that has been tested, battle tested by the largest project in this space. So I'll pause there again to see if there are any questions that have popped up. That is my general elevator pitch up and down of why building on Harmony. Any questions from the audience or anybody even from Encode? Danny, Jake, do you guys have any questions that you would like me to dig into a little bit more?
Is Harmony EVM compatible? Maybe a good.
Oh, good question. Good question. I should have addressed that earlier.
I know the answer, but maybe the crowd wants to know.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It is, and it's actually one of the things that we're great at. So we are fully EVM compatible, which means that anything that you build and any of the tools that you use to build on Ethereum as a Solidity dev, you can use and build and deploy on Harmony. It requires just a little change. I've worked with a bunch of different projects that have launched on Harmony or launched on Ethereum or other EVM compatible chains that have ported their work over to Harmony very easily and very quickly. In some cases, all they had to do is just point the contract to a different RPC. So it is fully compatible. And that's beneficial, like I said, because the program works, but also because that means that any tools that you use, anything from Truffle Suite to what's the most recent Hardhat? Is that one of the more recent development tools? Any of those tools that work over in the Solidity space. Obviously, I'm not a coder, so my apologies. They work on Harmony as well. And the knowledge base article that you can find talking about you know, hey, I tried to do this, that, and the other in Solidity. You have a deeper knowledge base because of that EVM compatibility. I will put another plug here for support.harmony.one. Again, this is our interactive knowledge base. We have a lot of really, really great work that Tim and Jeremy put in to making that really up to speed, and take a look at that and ask any questions there. So yeah, the question then becomes for me, when I think about that EVM compatibility, we're talking a little bit about Solidity, we're talking a little bit about the developer community and community at large. Harmony, you know, you can look at the very specific technical specs and say, okay, 2-second finality, yeah, there are a couple other chains that have that. EVM compatibility, yeah, there are other chains that have that. High transaction throughput, great. Low gas fees, great. There are still other chains out there that can match us technical feature for technical feature. One of the things that I am incredibly proud about is the strength of our community, especially right now. This is being filmed in late August of 2022. At the end of June, we had a pretty substantial hack on one of our bridges. It's one of the reasons why I haven't talked about going multi-chain yet. I'll address it in a second. But the thing that has been very interesting to see since this hack has been how much the community has been coming together to support other projects and to support the protocol itself. There is a lot of very passionate discussion that 95% of the time is actually very respectful. 5% of the time it's still the internet, so you gotta just accept that. But 95% of the time in the Harmony community, it's very respectful and very helpful. People are trying to help. They're trying to help the core team. They're trying to help each other. They're trying to help any projects that launch. And so you will see, as you're turning to look to find what blockchain to build on, the community becomes very, very important and very, very helpful. So let's talk a little bit about the hack, just because I know a lot of people have been talking about it, because it addresses one of the things that we have really been focused on historically, which is a multi-chain world. We believe, and our thesis is still strong, that 1 year, 3 year, 5 years out, the blockchain ecosystem will be one of multiple chains. It's a multi-chain universe. The technology, the best-in-class technology right now to support that is bridging technology. And over the course of this year, especially in the last 2 or 3 months, there have been a lot of bridges that have been hacked in one way or another. So there's still a significant amount of work on security that has to be put into place there. But this is everything from, you know, a $600 million hack on one chain to a $300 million hack. Our hack was about 100 million. Nomad, which is another chain, another bridge, was 160. And the benefit here is the fact that most of these hacks are showing us how we can make things better, and it's the open source model in general. The downside is we're playing with live ammo in this situation, so we have to be incredibly careful. So we do believe that the future we will have bridges. We put a pause on our bridge development here at Harmony, specifically because we are still working on introducing the same primitives and the same support for decentralized finance that we had before the hack, but we want to do it in a safe way. By that means, I mean the ability to move assets on and off the chain, and the ability to have stable coins and lenders and borrowers and all of the jazz that you love in decentralized finance. There's a lot more to speak about that. You can actually get pretty opinionated discussions, but it is, you know, like I said about the Harmony community, they're very passionate. The Harmony community is also large. So if you head over to the Reddit channel, we're about just over 50,000 people on our subreddit, r/harmony_1. Our Twitter handle, Harmony Protocol, is about 400,000 followers. Our Telegram and Discord channels are both around 20 to 30. It wavers, you know, it kind of goes back and forth. But it shows you that this community is pretty passionate and they're pretty active, which is really exciting. Let's see. EVM compatibility. Oh, what is the ecosystem? What does the marketplace look like at Harmony? The marketplace right now, thank you so much for tossing that in, Danny. In the chat, you can see the link for our Twitter. The Harmony ecosystem right now, obviously, since the bridge hack, we've been in a stage of a little bit of a consolidation of really making sure that we don't have big bets that are hanging out on weak branches. But we do have decentralized finance. We have some really good people and players in decentralized finance. Unite Finance. Let's see, I'm completely blanking on it right now. Defira, and there's another one that I was just about to mention because I was on a call with them this morning, but for the life of me, it is slipping my mouth. So my apologies. We have some really good decentralized finance. Tranquil, thank you. Sorry, my brain said Tranquil. That was me. So my apologies. Tranquil Finance is a great decentralized finance organization. We also have NFTs, of course, up and down the course. One of the really great, you have to check this out, one of the great NFT marketplaces is called madnfts.io, madnfts.io, madnfts.io. And it is absolutely terrific NFT marketplace. And we did DAOs for quite a while, and there's still several DAOs that are on chain. One of the things that we realized about the DAO effort over the past year is that both the individuals and the tools, the market's not ready yet for robust DAO growth. But we have people who've been doing a lot with the DAOs over the course of the past year, and there's a lot of learning that we've done. Games is probably the most exciting space right now for Harmony. Specifically, after the success of launching and running for quite a while, DeFi Kingdoms. Now, DeFi Kingdoms, I will admit the fact that they are also working on a multi-chain strategy, and so they've been expanding and moving certain aspects to other chains. But they were built and they first ran here for quite a while because, like I said, they needed the low transaction fees and the big size of the blocks. But we have many other great games that have both launched and are launching here on Harmony. Some of my favorites, and I was about to say this is in no way, showing a favorite, but they are my favorites. So my apologies. There's one called Rocket Monsters that's absolutely fantastic. I work very closely with the team. Andrew is one of my main contacts over there, and he's absolutely great. Rocket Monsters is phenomenal. When Lambo, the name itself is very degen, but it is actually a very, very good NFT project and gaming project. It's all about NFTs of Lambos. Go, it's great. I like it. And there's several more. So I'll pause there again. We're at about a half an hour in or so to this conversation. Please, any other questions that you guys would like me to talk about as far as Harmony itself and the intro to Harmony? While we're waiting, I'm gonna drop in really quick. Let me make sure I get the full one. The support link for building on Harmony. And again, a lot of credit goes to both Jeremy and Tim for the work that they've done on this docs page. They did a really, really good job. While we're waiting to see if there are any other questions, I just thought I'd pop up maybe a handful of interesting stats about Harmony. One of the things that you should know is that Harmony processes about 2.5 to 3 million transactions a day. That is compared to Ethereum, which is roughly about 1 million transactions in 24 hours-ish. So we're about 3 times more transactions per day than Ethereum. And here's the kicker. The size of the daily active wallets on Harmony, our high watermark was about 1.3 million back in both February and April. But now we average roughly between 200,000 and 300,000 a day, daily active wallets. And so seeing the number of transactions compared to the wallets, I find that interesting. I find the fact that we have fewer users, but more transactions, proof in the fact that the blockchain itself, the technology itself, is important. Let's see. Any other questions while I'm thinking of anything else to just kind of top out? See, Danny, Jake, what do you guys think? Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, nothing specifically, just a few thoughts as this Educate series does lead into a hackathon. As we look towards that, I know we haven't announced the challenges yet, but those will be coming soon. What are you looking to see get built on Harmony, kind of in a hackathon setting? Anything
That's
specific?
great. Yeah, that's a great question. And it actually gives me an opportunity to talk about something else that we've worked on and that we are also, it's very close to being released. It's not released yet, which is our game SDK. So an SDK that helps developers integrate into, Unity or into Unreal Engine, which are two of the major game engines, graphic engines, and a whole list of various different libraries and tools that'll help you build and run a game. So on that point, for the upcoming hackathon, I really like the idea of some sort of game. But what I find interesting about hackathons is finding the thing that helps other people also build. So some of the core things that have been done are indexes of some sort, although those take a while and they can be kind of rough. So like the Graph and Covalent are two partners that we've used. We're doing a third index, more robust index right now. But also I would love to see various different sorts of NFT minters, like a mobile mint for an NFT, I think would be really interesting. So you could use your phone to be able to mint NFTs. I know that there are some coming out. We have this phenomenal wallet, the Timeless wallet, also known as the One Wallet. I think is still in test flight in beta on the App Store. But this is going to be a phenomenal wallet that you should definitely check out as being a great mobile wallet. And they do have an ability to mint NFTs mobilely. So let's see. The other things that I'd love to see, I like personally, there's been a lot of conversations around soulbound NFTs or NFTs that represent some sort of identity, some decentralized identity or self-sovereign identity project. I really like that idea, but there's so much that goes into a really good, self-sovereign identity or decentralized identity that you need to be careful of and think through carefully. So I would love to be able to see something like that. There's a question in the chat. Are there any particular types of applications that are suited more for development on Harmony as opposed to other chains? Anything that is transaction heavy, I think you'll find yourself happier at Harmony than you would on other chains because those transactions process faster and cheaper than almost anywhere else. I've also seen really, really good feedback from anything that you want a good beta group of testers. Our community tends to be really good about signing up for and giving good quality feedback around beta testing. So I think both of those are good. Some of the other things as far as the hackathon goes is we are trying to find our path towards adoption across the board in blockchain technology. And I don't mean adoption like, oh, you have 200,000 daily users, great. No, I mean, I want to see that transaction, the active daily active wallets. Let me see if I can get that correct. Up into the 3, 5, 10, 50 million per day, like real adoption, the stuff that actually makes a dent in internet traffic and Web2 traffic. So anything that you have as an idea that is viral, as in you want to share that with your friends, and your friends will want to share it with their friends and their family, those are really interesting to build that aspect that the blockchain is being used in the background. You can barely see it. You barely know what it is, but the thing that you're doing, you want everybody to participate in. You want to share it everywhere else. I like those sort of things, if that helps. And what were the dates on that? Is the September 22nd? Is that right?
Let me
Danny?
confirm that completely
Yeah.
for you here.
Yeah. And I don't want to jump the gun. So if that's still under embargo, it's definitely not September 22nd, everybody. That's
Yes, it's start date's the 27th of September, and it lasts 4 weeks with the submission date of the 23rd of October.
That's terrific. That'll be really exciting. Also, I will mention, and this is, again, hackathons aren't necessarily the best place for this, but I do know that our founder, Steven, he's a huge fan of anything to do with ZK proofs. So anything that you want to play around with zero knowledge proofs, again, may not be the best place at a hackathon because those are complicated. But I know that Steven is a huge fan of zero knowledge proofs. So anything you guys want to do to play around with that. The general question that some people ask is, how do I get involved, right? And for me, there are a couple of things that are the most important. Number one, get your own wallet, right? So you can you can set yourself up on MetaMask. We work on MetaMask. You can also set yourself up with the beta test of the timeless wallet called One Wallet, and both of those are going to be great. Number two, join us on Reddit, join us in Twitter, join us on Discord. All three of those, you'll be able to come and check out and see what it is the community is talking about, what it is the community is doing. Also, talk.harmony.one is our forum address, and we'll throw that in the chat really quick as well. So that is our forum, and you can go in there and learn the latest. One of the biggest debates right now has to do with, like I said, resolving the bridge incident. And so you can get up to speed about all of those conversations. Again, note, people are passionate. Most of the time, 95% of the time, they are actually very respectful in their passion, but also 5% of the time, it's still the internet. So just watch for that. The final thing I would say is support.harmony.one. Like that technical support chain, those docs will help you find answers to your questions. It is a whole ticketing management system. They're doing a whole bunch of work there to support developers out there. So those are the big 3 or 4 areas to help get involved.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for all those resources and kind of giving a great overview of everything there. Any final questions from anyone? And if not, we can go ahead and wrap things up. But again, thank you for the great presentation and overview. As a reminder to everyone else, this event was recorded and will be put online to our Medium page as well as our YouTube channel by tomorrow morning. And looking forward, coming up here on the 30th of August is the next official event of the Encode times Harmony educational series. I'll post a link here in chat right now. It's going to be a Harmony technical deep dive. So looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there as well. But if no other questions, we'll go ahead and kind of wrap everything up here. So Sam, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone else for showing up and asking questions, and have a great rest of your day, evening, and afternoon, wherever you're located. And please do reach out with any questions.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate you guys showing up.
Thank you. Bye-bye.